Gbenga Afolabi, VGA, is a visionary leader and award-winning executive known for driving transformative impact across industries. As the CEO of Hazen Holdings, he leads a diverse group of companies in telecommunications, renewable energy, healthcare, marketing, and technology consultancy, integrating innovation with social responsibility. At the helm of GDM Group, a leading marketing and media consultancy, VGA has spearheaded initiatives empowering 250 global brands. His passion for innovation and entrepreneurship led him to establish one of Nigeria's foremost tech hubs, the Innovation Centre, EIC. Under his leadership, the EIC has supported over 40 startups, equipped thousands with digital skills, and transformed Nigeria's tech landscape. VGA also played a pivotal role in crafting the Lagos State Innovation Master Plan and currently serves on the Lagos State Science, Research and Innovation Council Board. An alumnus of Lagos Business School and Manchester Business School, VGA's focus on entrepreneurship, innovation and strategy makes him a driving force in shaping the future of business leadership in Africa. To share his insights on how innovation can transform leadership and drive growth, please welcome to ELC 2024 our next speaker, VGA, Victor Gbenga Afolabi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Our senior pastor has given a lot of context about what an innovative leader is. And I'll, in very quick succession, really want to take us through what it takes to be an innovative leader. It's about being an innovative leader. I'm hoping that we don't just show up on this conference, because there's nothing as frustrating as people constantly showing up for the same thing, but transformations don't happen. When I used to sit in there and, he says those things, you'll be millionaires, people say amen. But for me, I wasn't quick to say amen. I was desperate to, I'll say one amen, but I had to get there, okay? When he says, I see billionaires, people struggle with those things, but I was determined, again, maybe because of my background, the Berea people, you want to check, I was determined that something had to happen, a shift had to happen. I did join this church, I won't go into that, but there was really nothing. And I'm saying it to someone in here that please don't attend ELC and assume it's a conference, you're here because you're working in a department, you're in workforce or something. It's a good waste of your time if you choose not to want to get transformed, because ultimately, what this labor of love for 20 something, 30 years is about is that you imbibe something and you really change. And what this will be about is to make sure that for everyone, as you step out of this place, there should be a shift that happens in who you are and who you become. You don't sit in a place for 20, 27, 17 years, you count numbers, and we can't see that progression, then it becomes a waste. So if I want to implore you, and don't think you're too young, this journey for us started when I used to move from my brother's house and all that. Young man just came from the north, school in the north, Lagos looked like paradise and all that. I was in my very early 20s. So my encouragement is you're not too young to determine to live out these things. I'm a testimony that it works. Okay? I'm not a local leader. We're global. And we're all reading PhD because everyone is read PhD. So we're too many right now. So what do innovatives, the context is there, the definition, Google it. But I want to tell you from practical experience, and I do hope you allow me to tell a lot of stories so that it's something we can practicalize. What's the difference between an average leader and an innovative leader? For me, that's the big thing, because, you can go on ChatGPT and all the AI tools, and of course, our senior pastors have, created the foundation for what it means to be an innovative leader, and I do crave your indulgence. I'll be a bit practical. The basic difference is that innovative leaders, while normal leaders manage for today, how do things work? How will I get things to happen? Innovative leaders lead for tomorrow. Okay? While other leaders manage for today, ask questions, how do we get things better? How do we influence? Because I'm sure if you've been in this church, you listen online, wherever it is, you will have learned about influencing people. While others want to influence for today, innovative leaders are leading for tomorrow. They're basically asking themselves, discerning, what will tomorrow look like? How should we be shaping tomorrow? How should we be preparing for tomorrow? I know quite a number of people like to plan. You know, when we were young, we were taught about failing to plan is what? As a young man, I know that Nigeria had vision 2020, 2030, 21. They're all manners of visions. Am I right? And I do know that if you've been here long enough, end of December, December 31, you write some things, some goals and all that. Am I right? And people do plan. But innovative leaders don't plan for the future. They don't plan for the future. Remember I said they lead in the future, am I right? I want you to follow as if I'm in the class, okay? They don't plan for the future. They prepare for the future. There's a difference between planning, writing it, oh, what's going to happen and all that. A lot of people do plan. You know, they write those beautiful things. They do the scenario analysis. They gather all the data. And they said, oh, oil, we finish. And blah, blah, blah. Let's do a master plan. You know, in my part, they said, you know, I was part of those that wrote some innovation master plan 6-7 years ago. Okay, fantastic document. It's online, all that. Then you spend hours, lock yourself in training rooms and boardrooms with coffee, and you're saying, let's look at the future. Am I right? Planning for the future. The question, are you preparing for that future? Are you doing the building blocks? Noah wasn't, I'm sorry, my default is scripture. I'll try to use other things, but I'll quote a bit more scripture because remember I said I'm old school. Christian, okay. Noah wasn't sketching alone. He wasn't planning that there was going to be a flood. He was carrying the wood and chopping it and arranging it in a place where rain had never fallen. They didn't understand what it means for it to rain. He wasn't planning. He was preparing. To be an innovative leader, you need to not only plan, you must begin to prepare for the future that has not yet come. That's the only thing that guarantees your leadership in the future. If you do not plan to lead in the future, you will not be relevant in the future. You will not be reckoned with in the future. In fact, you will cease to exist in the future. Let me make it very practical. How many of us know that the population of Nigeria is growing very fast? Am I right? Oh, we know it, am I right? Somebody said we'll be the seventh largest country in terms of population in 2050. Am I right? 20, how many years? 27? 26 years from now. Right? Good. What are you doing about it? Don't read these facts. Don't read the statistics. I can tell you, organization, people, nation, ministries, churches, hospitals, homes. Most people are not planning for that reality. It will hit us like a thief in the night. The person who will lead in the future needs to begin to build the structure for that 400 million Nigerians that will begin to inhabit the same place where we currently are. That is what it means to be a leader who wants to lead in the future. There's a difference between improvement, invention, and innovation. Improvement is gradually changing things to make them better. I want to improve this. You want to make them better. Okay? Gives you leadership today. You lead today because they're solving things for today. Invention is you create a new thing that is totally new. The innovative guy is the guy who takes that thing that is new and makes sure that it becomes applicable to use in the future. I wanted to distinguish that because I know so many people throw the word innovation around. When you do gradual improvements, that's not innovation. It gives you leadership today. It doesn't take you to leadership in the future. But what is that fundamental thing that needs to happen? That when I leave this conference, what should I be doing that will make me an innovative leader? That will expand my ability to be innovative. And like Pastor Nick said, it's not about the tech industry. Of course, I'm in the tech industry, okay? Today, I used to be there, okay? Innovative leaders, and I've spoken about what innovation is. Innovative leaders ask a fundamental question that every other leader doesn't ask. I'm sure we all know all those fundamental questions. Basically, you W, H, and Y. Remember that? 4 W's and H or something? What, which? Can I feel you? Remember those questions? What? Fantastic. If not, I'll think this is not Daystar. How do I become an innovative leader? You qualify the question. Innovative leaders always ask a question. How else? When you go out of this place, if there's nothing you remember from the things I've said, is the fact that for you to experience that transformation, to begin to think innovatively, you need to begin to ask yourself, how else? You qualify the questions. That's the innovative part. How can we do this? X and Y. An innovative leader asks, how else can we do this? How many sides does a coin have? Head or tail? An innovative leader tells you, no, there should be a third side to this. How can we fix the economy? We tax the people till they are dead. Another leader says they're already dead anyway. What is there to tax? How else can we solve this problem? What does that do to you? It shifts your thinking. Every time people bring things to your table as a leader, irrespective of where you are, a conversation, you need to constantly ask yourself, how else can this be done? How else can we solve this problem? How else can we address this situation? Because until you ask yourself, how else, you have not started that journey of questioning your beliefs, what you understand, and what you think you know. Until you ask how else, you're only looking for a more efficient way to do it, which is arithmetic progression. You make baby steps. Ask questions. How? Okay. You make baby steps. When you ask how else, you do a giant step. One is a linear progression, linear changes. The other ones are non-linear, dramatic. If you're a student of maths, one is arithmetic progression, improvements, which many people are used to. Innovation is geometric progression. It gives you a major shift. And that's why innovation is important. Innovative leaders are selfless leaders because they seek to bring people into a future that they have no clue about. And of course, it's about the common good of all. They are possibility thinkers. They look for better solutions for things. I describe them as people who gaze, people who take telescope and they gaze. What will the future look like? What will change? When there are 400 people living in here, what will happen to the farmers and herders clash? How will people go to classroom then? How will people feed? How will people shop in 30 years from now? How can I address what the seemingly challenges are likely to be? They are obsessed about creating leadership in the future, leading into the future. So like I said, they're like stargazers that look into the telescope and trying to understand what we think look like in the future and how else can things be done. For you to be an innovative leader and you've asked the question how else, is to expand what we call your bounded rationality. And I don't want to just drop the words. I'll explain what I mean by that. How you know for things to be done or how things ought to be done is defined by the limits of what you know. The biggest risk for people is an unwillingness to think outside of what they know and be willing to stretch their mindset. And that's what innovative leadership should be. Innovative leadership, and I hope I don't get to controversial territories, challenges the 10,000 hours rule. How many of you have heard of 10,000 hours rule? If I do something consistently for 10 hours, am I right? It becomes a habit. What's the opposite of innovation? Tradition. Tradition. This is how we know how to do it. You know, I personally do all the inductions of all my staff, 300 of them right now. And when people come in and I need to do induction, the first thing I tell them, which is things that I've seen whole organizations, is that they say that's how they do it here. I say, so why did I employ you? If I knew how to do it, I won't bring you. Give me your own flavor. Don't say this is how they do it here. How else should we be doing it? What inhibits us from being innovative is our fear of challenging tradition. I mean, I do love, coming to Daystar. The first thing I struggle, I say, how can we be doing crossover at 7 o'clock? But who says it must be 12? It's because we think that God has a time and that he's bounded by time. So when you're looking for an innovative leader, you know where one is. Because who says that's the only way to do crossover? Crossover can be any hour. Trying to be real. But question, challenge tradition. Right, challenge the usual. Challenge what is bland. Habits that have been formed, we need to look to new approaches to doing them. I know the church is made up of very young people, but let me give you an example of an experience of how you can see innovation has made things a bit better. When I was younger, my mom used to be a civil servant, used to work in what you call P&T, okay? Became NITEL and blah, blah, blah. It was called P&T those days, okay? When they pay her salary, she can go into only one branch of a bank. First Bank, Bank Road. In Kaduna State, eh? That's where all the banks are, so they call it Bank Road. So when you go there, when they pay their salaries between 28th and 31st of the month, everybody will go and withdraw their money because they won't give them time to go again. And when you get there, the banking hall is like this. So people will go there and put their slippers to book their space. Okay, I'm sure you think I'm joking. I am not. You need to keep your slippers or put your shoe or somebody. They don't need to stand in line. You arrange it. When is your turn? Your colleagues will call you from work. Your slippers has gotten there. You now come. And this is by no means feeble. I see my mentor laughing. It means that he connects. That was what it was. How many of our Gen Zs can relate? Because somebody asks, how else can we do banking? Somebody asks, how else can we do it? Must there be passbook? My father had an account in the village. Every December, he would go to the village. Question, how else can this be done? It can't be only this way. So when you do that, you challenge the tradition. You create, someone talked about it being Innovation can be creative destruction of what constantly exists in a creative manner. Because what keeps you trapped in the past is you're constantly celebrating that past. God said, see, I do what? I do a new thing. God himself is a God of innovation. When he sees journey with the children of Israel, today he brings out water from the rock. Symbolic, but I won't digress. Today I'm speaking as a tech innovator, so I shouldn't speak as a scriptural man, per se. Very innovative. And talking about this question of bounded rationality is about expanding the mind. I do not want to exactly sound the way Reverend Sam will be, but the truth is, I struggle when people hear things and go out and they think that it's just words to make you feel happy. I'm sure everybody has a lot of things to do beyond making anybody feel just good. It's to create changes in people's lives. Your bounded rationality, even God was concerned about it. Because he knows that's the only way you can see the future that has not been created and begin to prepare, not plan for it alone, prepare for it. It says, do not be conformed to the standard of this world. But be what? By the what? Transformation. It's taking you somewhere else. Seeing into the future and creating leadership in there. So it's about challenging tradition. Thinking of how do I create something novel? This is how people have always done it. Can I do it in another way? Most things in life go through the sigmoid curve, As a young man, a few of the questions I need to ask, and which part that fascinated with Reverend Sam was the fact that he's always trying to challenge things and ask questions and have a very inquisitive mind. One of the things that got me very curious was the fact that why do people get comfortable, get rich, get to a point and they come down? Have you noticed it? Okay, maybe have medium income people. I saw it in my parents, I saw it in uncles, At a time when the kids were young, they had good cars, and then suddenly the cars, this global audience, the cars, something happens. I mean, okay, I don't know how do I describe it? The cars get suspended on bricks or something. I don't know what you call that. Sorry, I know I'm talking to Gen Zs, but you guys can't relate, but it's fine. Unfortunately, if you check ChatGPT, you can't find Goriodo on it. So I don't know how to describe it, but I know something happened to those cars, and it's not called innovation. The cars get suspended, the tires are removed, and they put bricks. It's not innovation. Maybe it's improvement. They get grounded. Thank you, innovative leader. You've helped me. The cars get grounded, but the tires are not there. So, and I saw it. It was rampant. Until I started seeing a continuous pattern that everything that has been created happens in a sigmoid curve, but people don't like it. Sigmoid curve means it goes this way and goes this way. So check a lot of things, okay? Even age, as a child, then you grow, am I right? You get to the peak, am I right? Things with age. The obsession of innovative leaders is that they do not want their lives, their firms, their organizations, their ministries to obey the rule of the sigmoid curve, which is the natural law of life. They challenge it. When you get to the top and you want to stay at the top, you must innovate. You restart that sigmoid curve. That's innovative leading. You take your life and organization through it. It's supposed to obey the law of everything that goes up must what? At the very peak. If you do not want to come down, whatever you do, you must reinvent success. Reinventing success means at the tip of that peak, you recreate it. That's what innovative leaders do, because they are focused about creating leadership in the future. So innovative leaders reinvent success. When I tell people I've changed my career 4 times, people in 24 years, people think, what's wrong with me? But I say, hey, I was about 9 or 10 years old. I went to a secondary school and they said I should take integrated science. Am I right? And I passed. Am I not supposed to pass? Because they tell you just said something, they say it's stepping stone. You know, those parents were wonderful. Everything is stepping stone. So the mother says stepping stone, stepping stone. If you don't pass integrated science, you will not go to science class. I didn't know what science class meant, so but I had to pass. Am I right? So I passed, and the school decided I must be a science student because I passed integrated science. They didn't ask for my opinion. I didn't vote. There was no vox pop, nothing. They carried me and put inside and arranged it based on how much you scored integrated science, maths, and English. So I ended up in the very hard part of science class, but nobody consulted me. And they told me to do chemistry, physics, and biology. And my mom would keep saying that if you don't pass, we lived in the north, in Kaduna then and all that, and many people in our local Baptist church then, you know, people were mechanics and radionic and all that, but my parents, you know, civil servants wanted us to go, and they keep saying that, they'll mention, like, you will be like this person that the father has sent to mechanic workshop. So I wanted to just pass that physics, chemistry, biology, and then we were reading it, you know, and the whole stepping stone thing. And so I passed, you know. And my mom, in her wisdom, God bless her soul, decided I must be a medical doctor. And so I asked, and she said, I'll use vernacular. Ẹ̀gbọ́n rẹ ló yẹ kó ka Mercy, ó ti ṣe architecture, ìwọ ló ka Mercy. So this wonderful woman decided that my firstborn, who is supposed to have been a medical doctor, decided to be an architect, you know, ended up being studying architecture. You are the next science student, so you will be the doctor. And in those days, we don't have opinion. Thank God, Pastor Dike has taught us now that even if I was a 3-year-old, I should pack my toys. If I come now, you know, if it's now, my daughter will ask you why. In those days, we don't ask why, so that you don't experience a brain shift. So I read for JAMB, I passed JAMB. Then the school I picked, unluckily, then they went on strike because they killed Bandepo killed somebody. All manners of things that is not my business. Nobody asked me, you know. So I did JAMB. JAMB didn't ask me what I wanted. WAEC didn't consult me. NECO didn't ask me. They came out, they said I have admission, that I should go and check. Nobody asked for my opinion. They said medicine or food, they gave me pharmacy. I didn't even know what pharmacy is. So I asked my mother, I said, after you do year 1 of medicine or pharmacy, you must become what? Just call 4 point something GPA. I didn't even know what GPA was. I said, yes, ma'am. I didn't have a choice. So I went to the school. The first person that met me told me, welcome to Bermuda Triangle. Vet medicine, medicine, and pharmacy. They said people's destinies are destroyed here. I said, but I didn't tell JAMB I wanted to go to Bermuda Triangle. I just want to be happy. I was a young teenager. Anyway, read pharmacy. Funnily enough, past that 4 point something, whatever. The shares you can read medicine. All the medicine people were looking unhappy. The pharmacy people were playing. So I told my mom, I didn't even drop the form. I said, they said medicine is full. Because I've already made friends. How can you make friends in year 1? Then you go and start another thing. And all of them look miserable. They'll put work up. So I said in that pharmacy, I didn't even know what it was. I'll be it. I finished in time, but nobody asked me if I was that patient to care for people. Nobody consulted me. I'm too restless. I will keep people on the theater table. If I give you paracetamol right now, don't take it. Because even right now, when I'm not okay, I look for the pharmacist. Because I'm not sure if I'm one. But I came out and and I'm talking about you challenging status quo. It wasn't me. That's not who I am. I'm not a medical person. I don't have the temperament. I don't have the patience. When we start opening retail chain stores, my boss, my wife, my co-business person who gave me one pharmacy to manage, she'll be managing one. After a while, I'll take a bike. It was in K2, I'll take a bike, go to our own. She said, what am I looking for? Are there no patients in your place? I said, I think there are patients, but I just said, how you are doing? The problem is that me, I'm already bored. Why will I be 2, 3 times a day, 5, 4 times a day? It wasn't me. It wasn't long. I left everything for her. Why am I saying that? Innovative leaders need to be able to embrace challenging tradition without being ashamed of it. You need to be bold enough to say, this is where things are going, and how do I move there? Let me rush. Innovation will succeed when it embodies deep, enduring values of the organization that creates it. And this is where leaders need to lead with empathy. A lot of us are innovating, forgetting about the context for which you innovate. And that's why we say things fail. What are the people dealing with right now? Are you looking at the future and creating what matters to them now, or are you doing something that makes you feel good? Leaders is not about living for yourself. When you create for yourself, you do not take into cognizance the local context. Leadership is not about complaining. I know things are tough here and it doesn't work. I'll pass through controversial territories as I quickly rush. When I started my PhD, my supervisor happens to be an Indian, okay, British Indian. And so when he said, hey, what do we want to talk about? I said, I have a frustration, okay. I've been in business for going to 2 decades. I've seen myself succeed, but I'm frustrated because there are too many people that are not succeeding around me. I don't know what is missing. You know, we attend the same seminars and all that. But I just see I'm making so much progress, and I don't know. There are too many necessity entrepreneurs, you know, people that are not scaling their businesses. So he asked me, he said, so why? And then I went into the travelogue, which we all do. Nigeria is bad. Nigeria is evil. Our leaders are corrupt. There's no institute. And so I went, and the man just kept looking at me. I went and on and on and on. And he said, okay, fine. He said, have you been to India before, my friend? I said, yes, boss. I went to India in 2005. I was a fan. I was trying to bring in products. I was in Delhi. He said, so what's the difference between Nigeria and India? I'm surprised what you're talking about. You know, now you are a scholar, so you need to create a hypothesis. He said, in India, I can tell you we had more poor people than you. I mean, it's been a while, I've been doing a PhD, I'll finish soon. Or rather, I'll submit thesis soon, whichever one. Whatever. He said, that doesn't stop you from innovating. And I thought it was a joke. For 1 year, we worked together on innovation called Jugaad Innovation, which was something from India. They had all the problems we had, and this is controversial territory, okay? They had all the problems we had, but despite that, they kept innovating. There's something he called frugal innovation he was teaching me. Despite all the resource constraints, no institution, no police, despite all that, innovative leaders see beyond that and want to create solutions in the future. It's not about complaining. I know that nothing is working in some sense, but that is the only reason why we have innovative leaders. To look at a difficult, uncertain, ambiguous world and see how do you create solution that brings order there. That's what innovative leaders do. We shouldn't be children of violence and anger on Twitter Street. It's about making sure that despite all these voids, we factor it. There are some countries that for you to build, you need to think of a bunker because there's hurricane. So you need to think of deep foundation because there's volcano. We've not factored all that. Factor all the constraints you have as a leader. There are things you must innovate around. There are 2 capabilities, as I quickly round up, for 5 minutes more, that are important for you to lead. Because again, I want to leave here not just giving you, making you feel good and cramming it, but it's to say, if I choose to be an innovative leader today, what do I do? There are 2 capabilities for you to be an innovative leader or an organization, a ministry or family to be innovative. It's like you playing football with 2 sides of the leg. And that's what makes it difficult. You can score from your right, but that's what makes it difficult. There's something we call a dynamic capability, and there's the other one we call operational capability. Operational capability is how you run things today, leadership for today. Okay? Dynamic capability is what? Ensuring you are creating competence and capability for the future. Adapting, learning, building for the future. Operational capabilities, are people showing up at the right time? How are they seated? Is there an improvement? What? But for you to lead in the future, you need to go beyond that and say the way things are happening, the way Gen Alphas are going to be more than Gen Zs and they're coming to the workplace. How should we be preparing for them? That's why as a nation, we're trying to sell oil that is finishing. I was with a friend and I was trying to forecast, when you have FX liabilities, you need to think. So I called him and I said, tell me, this dollar, they said they'll bring it to 600 or something. He said, so how? I said, I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. He said, I've been in oil and gas for a long time. He said, let me tell you what's happening. These assets, these people are selling. They finish milking it. It's at the lowest ebb. So they are selling it because continue to exploit is not profitable for multinational anymore. So they are giving you. I said, why are they going? He said, because they're not building new wells. I said, why are not building new wells? He said, they were complaining to you for 20 years. Their people are stealing oil, your people. And that they are not making money. So they've now started divesting and they are going. He said, so if you are not producing, even the one you are producing will start declining because the oil in the wells have almost finished and they are not digging new wells in the marginal field. He said, put all that together. It allows you to know that the dollar is not coming down, it's only going up. I said, okay, can't we start, again, intermediary, we can build the well. So I said, can't we start digging new well today? He said, well, capital intensive, but even if you start digging today, you start making money from those new wells in 3 to 10 years' time. Because many of the wells will be dry. And some, he says, so when they give you marginal field, it has different wells. Dig the well. The ones they are selling that these people are happy about is because your people are happy to sell the ones today and make dollar, not knowing that that thing will not be there for a long time. Global output, the output will continue to decline. That is when people think for the future. Question, with all this that we know, how are our leaders planning to lead in the future? That's the question. So when people are trying to sell and do mergers and do deals, it is living for today. Like Reverend Sam will say, time perspective. You need to start thinking about the future. 7 largest people, 400 million people. Today you are 2.7% of global population. You'll be 5% of global population. There are populist governments, Trumps and all that will come all over the world. They will lock their doors. Go back to your country and kill yourselves. When more of that is happening, how are you as a leader preparing for that eventuality? Oh, it's very far. At 30 years to your age, you're not very old. Me, I'll still be around you. So it means I need to be prepared. You're not as old as you think. So you must understand you need dynamic capabilities that prepare you for the future. And that's why even God says, I'm doing a new thing. It will spring up. Do you not perceive it? Innovative leaders perceive. There are weak signals of crisis that will come. You are perceiving it. It's not there. Once it's there, it's no longer about being innovative. It's for daily management. You need to perceive. I wish I could play the video of Steve Jobs, but maybe I'll leave that. I'll leave it up.
Exactly what record they want to buy. They don't go up and say, what record should I buy? They know exactly what record they want to buy because there is the phenomenon of the radio station, a free sampling, so that we make our decisions before we go into the distribution center for the records. We need the equivalent in the software business. Software is information, and the information is expressed with a bunch of ones and zeros. And what we do now is we take those ones and zeros and we encode them magnetically on this piece of mylar with a bunch of gook on the surface of it that remembers the ones and zeros. We take it, we put it in a package with a manual, we take that, we put it on a truck, we ship it to a dealer, they take it out of the truck, they put it on the shelf, it sits there for a while costing them money. A customer comes in, peruses them and picks one out, takes it home, shoves it in their computer, and it translates it back to electrical impulses of ones and zeros. Where we'll be going is transmitting this stuff electronically over the phone lines, to where when you want to buy a piece of software, we take our ones and zeros, and you ever push a touch-tone phone and you're boop, 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 right? We'll send tones over the phone that the computers will understand and go directly from computer to computer. That's what we'll be doing. Once we do that, maybe it's possible to say, well, we'll give you 30 seconds of this program for free, or we'll give you 5 screenshots. We'll let you play with it for a day. And if you want to buy it, just type in your Visa number and you got it. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we need a radio station. Apple's strategy is really simple. What we want to do is...
That video, I can leave that because my time is up. He ended by saying, he was describing how he wanted to create the iPod. He ended by saying, today we don't know how to do it, but someday we do hope we'll know how to do it. Today, even the iPod, they've gone way beyond that. Innovative leaders are constantly thinking how to get things done. I'll end, there's so many things, by talking about, so why are organizations not innovating? Why are organizations stagnated? Why are nations the way they are. Now, Reverend Sam again will talk to you about principles because it's the questions I asked. Because I was, desperate to understand why. It's about a principle called Peter's principle. And you need to watch that in your own life. Peter's principle says, everybody gets promoted to their level of incompetence. So at the end, you find out that organizations at the top are filled only with people that are incompetent because over time, they've been promoted without them improving themselves. And that's why the head of most organizations where we don't see innovations and families is because the Peter's principle are setting, where we have begun to prioritize experience at the expense of expertise. What you did 40 years ago running a state does not mean you can do the same 40 years after running a country. That can be experience, is not expertise. Because today, in a dynamic world, you need new skill sets, new capabilities, new understanding, new insights to be able to provide the leadership that you need for the future. And in my final words, I'll say we all need to be like the sons of Issachar. Bible says that they understood the times and they knew what Israel had to do per time. And because of that, they were in control of their brothers. For you to be a leader, to be successful, to be a champion, to be celebrated, to be a global player, you need to be like the sons of Issachar. You need to understand the times and know what you ought to do per time. That way, you can be, you can transform from being just an average person to becoming an innovative leader. Thank you very much for having me. I celebrate your event, son.